Hello everyone, you're watching PokerNews.com. My name is Sarah Herring and I am joined by the ever amazing Ari Engel. If you don't already know, we had a big love fest on Ari on our last Poker News podcast, so feel free to check that out in the podcast section. But in the meantime, we are coming up on January, February, the beginning of the year, which always means Aussie Millions. And we have the Aussie Millions champion here from last year, so can we expect you to be defending your title?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to going back. Obviously, I had a great time last time, and I kind of grew up in Melbourne, so it's always going back, visiting friends and family, and yeah, it's a great tournament. I recommend to everyone to go there.
Yeah, I was shocked by how big your rail was being down under, but you've been final tabling a lot of things in the last few months. You've been all over the place, it seems like. We already know you're a homeless poker grinder, so it makes sense. And I asked you to think of a hand from, one of these recent tournaments and kind of talk us through it. We know you're the best at that, so let us in on it.
Okay, yeah, I got a fun hand that you told me a couple hours ago to think of something, and so I was racking my brains, and then I remembered this hand, and so it was in the Florida Seminole Hard Rock 3500, which was a re-entry. It was during re-entry period, and I was not on my first bullet. Came to a new table. Probably people realized that I may be in a gambling mood. There's another player. He's also kind of a gambler. His name is Eric Afferat. He won maybe a WPT or something like that in addition to other scores. And he opened from the low jack, one before the high jack, to 1,000 at 400. And I was, he might have been some sort of mid position. I was cut off, I think. I had queen 7 of clubs. So a lot of people like to fold that hand to a raise. But, I 3-bet it. I made it 2,800.
He's in a gambling mood, he already said.
Exactly. And queen 7 suited is a very nice hand. You could flop the third best flush. And not very many other good hands, but whatever, it's okay. So obviously I'm hoping that he folds, but he doesn't fold. And not only does he doesn't even call, he raises. It comes back to him and he 4-bets. I had 3-bet to 2,800, so it was 1K, 2,800. Then he 4-bet to 7,500. And, a lot of the cool kids nowadays, once they put in chips into the pot, you're not supposed to fold, is what people are saying. So, I had queen 7 suited. It's not that much more. We call and see a flop, and that's really what you're supposed to do, is see flops. So, it might not be small ball, but we're getting there. We're getting to the flop. And so I call, and it comes 8-6-6. 2 diamonds and 1 club, and I got 2 clubs. I got queen 7 of clubs, so I don't really have so much right now.
Nope, I'd call that a pretty big whiff.
Well, it depends on how optimistic you are. So, like a normal flush draw is 4 to a flush draw, but a very optimistic kind of backdoor flush draw is only 3. So I did have that going, and then also I had straight draws. If again, the 3 to a kind, so 6, 7, 8. So there's a little something to work with, and he bets 4,800. So pre-flop he had 4-bet to 7,500, so he bets 4,800. So it's 4,800 into like 16K or so. So I call. I have position, float they call it, and let's see what happens. And the turn's a really good card for me. It's a 10 of my suit, so it's a 10 of clubs. So
all the draws.
All the draws.
But let me then ask you really quick, based on his position and sort of obviously you know him as a player, what kind of range are you putting him on at this point?
Well, so, there's 2 parts of me. There's the one which is like, okay, he has all these big hands, he 4-bet pre-flop. And then there's another kind which is more what I'm hoping for than necessarily what I'm putting him on, which is that he's kind of seeing that I'm getting loose and he's being re-loose with me, and he might, I've seen him gamble to some extent before, so he doesn't necessarily have to have the nuts. We're kind of, I came to the turn thinking there's some chance that he's bluffing and maybe he shuts down, or maybe we'll see what happens. So now I hit gin card. He bets 8,800 now. and I don't even have enough to do a full min raise. So I can raise 8K more, which is what I do. You know, once I get to that point, I'm like, okay, if he doesn't have anything, it's 8K more. Maybe he can still fold into, you know, getting ridiculous odds. And if he does have something, you know, I have a flush draw, I have a gut shot, I've, you know, potentially a queen's good. And he had king nine of spades, so he had a gut shot, but no flush draws. And so he was messing around, he didn't really have much. And then he kind of got pot committed to it and got himself stuck in the situation. And, you know, when I shoved, he kind of cried and did the whole verbal free roll. But then ultimately called, and his king high won, and I was in for another bullet. So, you know, sometimes, you know, I do final table a fair amount, but I'm in for a hell of a lot of bullets. I enter into every tournament, and I play some crazy hands.
It's so interesting because, you know, obviously king nine has not a lot of value in that spot, but when you're both just messing around.
Yeah, he induced the max. I mean, way to get, you know,
max value out of your bluff.
75 blinds. So, yeah, and with king high, just great spot for him. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's so sick. I love that he chose that hand. I really like it. I have a million questions for this guy, and also it was sort of a comedic hand analysis. We will definitely be seeing more of this guy, and hopefully another back-to-back Aussie Millions win. That's all we're saying. Ship it, Ari Engel. I'm Sarah Herring. You're on PokerNews.com.